Hiya. Right. How are you doing? All right, guys. So, according to my sources, quickly check the right hand side of the screen. We've got two people in the house. So we'll start because I'm going to ask for some opinions. And two people's opinion is just as valuable as 40,000. Although, to be fair, right, the chances of me ever getting 40,000 people watching this are like smaller than a mint seed, shall we say, but it's still very important. So, right, some of you, if you've seen my latest upload, you might have seen that I've ripped up the decking in my backyard. I've been wanting to do it for years and it felt great. Right up until the point where all the decking was up and I was left with pretty much something that looked like a bomb site. And then that feeling of greatness kind of disappeared, and I was like, oh my lord, I've got to do something with this now. So work has started on redoing the backyard at Petals HQ, but I'm having an idea that's getting mulled over more and more in my mind. Before I tell you what that idea is, I'll just quickly look who we got. So hello, Biblical, how are you doing? Nice little chat with you and Ray from Ray's Homegrown Veg Garden before the start of the live broadcast. Hello to you both. Anybody else? We got anybody else in? Right, I think my mum is watching. So hello, Wezzer. How are you doing? How's the Wes dog? Oh yes. It's so hard when I know my mum's watching because, well, it's hard anyway being live because I've got a bit of a potty mouth, and sometimes if I get excited, I swear and stuff. So it's so hard not to swear, knowing that my mum's watching. And also, I think my youngest daughter, Deputy Head Gardener Ruby's watching. So hello to you too, Ruby. Right then. So my idea, what I was thinking about for the yard. If you've not seen the latest video, because I'm really good at drawing stuff, I've drawn a picture, right? So it's like, imagine that you're God, biblical, right? Imagine that you're a biblical God and you're looking down on my backyard from above. That is my kitchen door kind of thing. Right outside my kitchen door is the paving slabs that I'm in the process of laying, hence the name of the channel, Petals on the Paving Slabs. Right, either side at the wall that goes down the length of my yard, we're going to have a little bit of a raised bed. And then somewhere around there will be one or two steps down onto a gravel path, which cuts diagonally across my backyard down to, that does look like a dinosaur. I'm not very good at drawing. That's a chicken. That end of the yard is where I keep my chickens, right? So immediately at the edge of the paving slabs is going to be some very pleasing on the eye ornamentals, mainly for our Claire's pleasure. Although she doesn't know this yet, live announcement, right? I'm going to put in stuff that has sentimental value. For example, there's certain plants that our Claire and I, have connections with in our minds to family members who are no longer with us, like my grandma and granddad, Claire's nanas, that kind of thing. Claire's granddad, Danny Boy as well. And there's certain plants that we have connected to those very special people who sadly no longer share our lives with us. So what I was thinking is right there is going to be those sentimental plants. But right, everything in the rest of these two triangular big growing spaces, what I'm thinking about more and more is having like a food forest going on. Quickly leave a comment if you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know. If you've no idea what a food forest is, again, leave a comment. Somebody will help you out with it. So who we got? Who have we got here? So it's another wet day where you are, Ray. refresh my memory. What part of the country are you from, Ray? Liam Gallagher, godlike. Oh yes. Hello, my family garden. How are you? Yes. If you don't check, if you're not already following my family garden out on Instagram and here as well on YouTube, go and check them out. I can recommend them. So my family garden, he's got a food forest around the edge of the garden. Hiya, Nick from Nick's Allotment Diary. How are you? You all right, sir? Oh yes. Hello. What I grow in an allotment. Hello. Hiya. Right. I can see a comment from Babette. It just needs to move up. I can see your name, Babette. It's something to do with my screen. Oh, hang on. I've got a notification at the bottom of the screen. I've clicked that. I can see it properly now. Babette, hello. So, food forest. Right. I'll try and explain my understanding of the food forest. It's a growing space made up of layers, which I'll come on to shortly. But in that growing space, the big clue is in the title of food and forest. You'll have some trees in there to give you height. Again, it's connected to those layers, which I'll go on to explain a little bit more very soon. But everything that you grow in that space has a value, mainly, hence the name, of a food. It's something you can eat. But I've got a slightly different take on that. Rather than just out and out food crop plants in a food forest, if I was to do one in my backyard, if you've only just joined us, here's a bit of a rough plan. You might have seen one of my latest videos. I am in the middle of completely revamping my backyard. My take on the food part is, so long as that plant has a use, you don't necessarily need to put it in your mouth and eat it. For example, I might grow a little patch of willow, which I can cut down every year, coppice, and I use those willow sticks that I cut down as like bean poles, that kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it's almost like a herb, if you will. One definition of a herb that I've heard of is that a plant with more than one use. So it's not necessarily a culinary herb that you'd add to your food, like parsley or basil, or if you're on the other side of the Atlantic, basil. It's not necessarily out and out culinary. So who we got coming in? Hello, Liz. Hello to you. J McHugh. GYO. You had dinosaur. No, it was definitely a chicken. That's dinosaur. No, that's a chicken. I'm just not very good at drawing. I didn't take art seriously at school. I didn't like getting my hands mucky with the clay, and I didn't like getting paint on my school uniform because when I go home, I get told off for getting my uniform mucky. So I never really got art, to be honest. Pag the drum. Hiya, Pag. That was tricks. Right then. So what was I saying? So that's where I'm thinking of taking my backyard, turning it into a food forest. Now, the layers. I mentioned I'd come back to talking about the different layers. If you were to, obviously not now, because I don't want you to leave watching this, wait till this is finished, right? But if you were to search on YouTube for food forest, you would find people like a geezer called Jeff Lawton. He talks a lot of sense, does Jeff. He's got an awful haircut, though. Proper bad haircut. Don't be put off by the haircut. I think it's an age thing, bless him. But Jeff Lawton, you'll find people like James Prigione, who's, I think he's American. I apologise if he's Canadian and not American, but he's on the left-hand side of the pond, anyhow. You'll find people like that that do food forests very well. They took it to like the nth degree of detail. You watch their videos, they will tell you that there's 7, 6, 8 different levels of layers in a food forest. That's far too much for my little head to cope with. I'm going to go for about 4 different levels, starting at the ground cover crops. I'm mainly thinking strawberries. The reason I'm thinking strawberries is they throw out runners, don't they? Which is basically free plants. So if I am slightly untidy with any strawberries I put on the ground, those runners in turn will give me a carpet on the soil, which, as we all know, where there's a plant growing, there can't be a weed growing. You need something there, or else otherwise a weed's going to come in and take over. So I will have a bed of strawberry plants. In time, it's not going to happen overnight, unless I just go out and throw a load of money at it. But I want to sort of like do it in a frugal fashion. So those strawberries, as we know, they're edible. Right. Next level up is things like small bushes. Now, in a food forest garden, you're looking at things like gooseberry bushes, blueberries. You could, no, I won't say that. I'll add that to the next level. Oh, no, yes, I will. I'll tell you what, raspberries as well, raspberry canes. Smallish bushes. Again, with an edible use. Food forest. Next level, I'm going to call it, see, I've skipped a few levels out now. If any of you are aficionados of people like Jeff Lawton and James Prigioni, they've got several more levels at this stage. I'm going to go straight from bushes to what they call canopy level. And for my canopy level, I'm going to use the fruit trees I currently have in my backyard, but at the moment they're growing in things like dust bins. I'm going to take them out of those dust bins and tyres. I'm going to plant them actually in the ground. Finally, I get a garden that's got soil on the ground. No more container gardening for me. Right, those fruit trees, they're like my upper highest canopy level. And then there's one more thing which we're going to mix into all of that. So we've got the ground cover, we've got the small bushes, we've got canopy level. We'll call it, for want of a better way of calling it, we'll call it climbers/vines. So these are things that I can start off growing up, but then I'm going to grow them along, mixing them through my canopy level. I live in the northwest of England, Lancashire. Grapevines are probably a little bit too ambitious, but there's plenty of other vining fruits that I could grow in my growing climate. For example, what are those tiny little kiwi fruits? Is it Axindia argutas? Is it the little kiwi vines? There's no reason why I can't have one of those. We've got one up at the allotment, so I know that they work in my climate. Right, who else have we got here? Hello to you all. Liz has a food forest. I know you do. I drool when I watch your videos, Liz, of what you've got going on. Yes, right. So that's what I'm thinking. So I've mentioned strawberries as my ground cover crops. There's a slight variation you can do in this. You can do root crops as well. So things like carrots, parsnips. Let's throw into that mix onions, garlic, that kind of thing. For stuff that's growing actually on the ground, this is where I want your guys' opinion. Throw some suggestions. Just throw them in the comments, in the comment section. I might not in the live chat. I might not see every single one as it's going on because I've got to try and I'm talking to you. I'm looking at you. If I was to start reading all the comments, you get to see all my spots on the side of my face. So start leaving some comments in the chat of suggestions for ground level, ground cover food crops. I'll start you off. Herbs. Give me some herbs that you think would be good to grow in a food forest in my small backyard at Petals headquarters. What kind of things would you grow if it was your space? And because at the moment I'm in a really, really lucky position. It's the kind of utopia most gardeners dream about. I have almost got an entirely blank canvas to work on. So hit me. Mint. I'm seeing mint. Excellent idea. Might have to contain it slightly. I don't want it to spread. Kiwi berry. Yes, I did mean kiwi berry. The words escaped me. Thank you for that. Rosemary, chives, fennel, thyme. Excellent suggestions. Right. if you think of any, guys, please, 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 I really, really value your opinions. I'm not saying that I will grow every single one, but if you give me a big mixing pot of ideas, I can pick out the ones that are most suitable for myself, can't I? So I thank you so much for this. Let's move up a level to the bush kind of level. I have got some raspberry canes that I can plant out, but again, raspberries do spread, so I'll have to be clever how and where exactly I place them. And we don't want them taking over with the runners that they throw out. Eventually, if I left them, they would just pretty much take over, along with any mint that I planted out, if it wasn't kept in check. So, fruit bushes, just give me some ideas. In my backyard, already existing, in half a cut down water butt, of all things, I have got one blackcurrant plant. We've also got a couple of blackcurrants up at the allotment, but I will leave them where they are. I won't be transplanting those. But I do already have one blackcurrant bush going in a makeshift container in my backyard. So what kind of edible bushes are we thinking? If you've got any slightly left of field ideas, so something that isn't your conventional soft fruit bush. So if we move away from things like raspberries, blackcurrants, gooseberries, if anyone knows of anything that has another use, either an edible use or some kind of herb that you can use in some kind of way to make something with, I'd really appreciate that. Now, while we're on the subject of food forests, I've been name dropping people like Jeff Wharton, dodgy haircut, but he knows his stuff, he's worth listening to. And James Prigioni, another little name drop I'm going to throw at you. Speaking of food forests, go and check out Ryan from Canada. His channel is A Little Dirt Never Hurt. Most of you are probably familiar with Ryan. Down the side of his house and onto his front garden of his house, he is growing a food forest, and it is fantastic. A few weeks ago, he did a tour of his food forest, and it's just brilliant. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. So I am taking a bit of inspiration from Ryan's garden as well, from A Little Dirt Never Hurt. Who else? What kind of comments are we getting here? Don't forget. Oh, thank you, Backyard Gardening. Thank you for saying that. Thank you very much. If you're not following Backyard Gardening, people, you need to. They will improve your life. Trust me on this. Please go and check out. In fact, everybody, all go and check each other out. If you hover your mouse over somebody's name in the live chat, on the right hand side, you'll get 3 little dots coming up. If you click on those, one of the options is go to channel. A new window opens up, and you can look at that person's channel where you've got the option to subscribe should you wish. But I really recommend that most of you guys here, in fact all of you guys here, because we're all big family, all start following each other. That's what it's all about, isn't it? We are in the YouTube gardening community. Communities do things for each other. Go and help each other's channels out. Right, who else have we got? Nick's Allotment Diary. Yes, I agree. Ryan's channel is brilliant. Fig tree. What I grow. Fig tree. Right. So, back to me amazing piece of artwork. It's not. It's awful. A child could probably do better than this. So actually, I've just noticed it's back to front with the way the camera's filming it. However, immediately at the back of this, or where my finger is the back of my house. That's the kitchen door that takes you out onto what's going to be paving slabs. In one of the 2 borders that I'm going to be putting in, my fig is going to be right in that corner. Now over here, we've got sunrise, and over there, we've got sunset. So pretty much all day long, the sun shines into my yard all across its width. So I thought right up against the house with sun shining on it will probably be the best place for my fig. Variety is brown turkey. I chose brown turkey because I was led to believe it does well in northern UK climates. However, we've had it about 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. Still not had a single fig off it yet. But I am not giving up hope. It will happen at some point. Perhaps when I move it into that corner, that fig tree, that extra shelter and the warmth radiating off the back of the house and what have you, will encourage it to fruit. So we'll see. We'll see. Hello, Jen. Jen's Allotment Adventure. Bethan. Oh, I just doubted myself. I'm sure that's your name. From Ginger Welsh Allotment. Yes, hello. How are you doing? Oh, mulberry. Somebody's mentioning mulberry for the bush level of a food forest. If you've got some varieties, chuck them in. Give me some ideas. That'd be amazing. So moving up a level, my canopy level, it's almost sorted, to be honest. I don't need too much in the way of inspiration and ideas from a canopy level, because around my yard at the moment, in bins and tires, and I've got some random kind of sewage pipe thing, I have got a few fruit trees. I might only need to add 1 or 2 more, because I don't know the space I've got. Obviously, trees, big tall trees, they need ground space for those roots to spread out and get the nutrients. If I cram too many trees into my small space, the remaining soil is going to be quite sterile, if you will, because all the goodness will be getting sucked out by those trees. But what I've already got is I have got 2 pear trees, 1 quince, 1 plum, and I've got my fig tree, which I've just been trying to describe where we're going to be planting that fig tree. So at a push, I might get 1, maybe even 2 extra fruit trees. I might get a second plum to aid pollination. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So my absolute top level layer is pretty much sorted. But come back down a layer, the layer that I was referring to. So it's in between the bushes and the canopy level. It's the climbers / viners that grow up and then along and through. In my food forest garden, I wanted those plants to have some kind of use. Now, in my backyard, growing out of huge containers, I have already got a passion flower and a honeysuckle, but they're not really the kind of things I would go out and pick and eat. So if anyone's got some kind of vine, other than the obvious grapevine, that would have some sort of secondary use, to be added into a food forest garden, I'd be really appreciative if you could just give us some suggestions. So let's quick look at the comments. GYO mulberry variety mojo can be grown in pots. I was looking at them only yesterday. You know what? Several times a day, I'm on Amazon. Other websites do exist, but I am on my online shopping account looking at plants to buy. I am constantly adding things to my wish list. I am also, guys, go and check it out, constantly adding things to my Amazon, what's it called? The Amazon Influencers storefront. If you didn't know that Petals on the Paving Slabs had its own Amazon storefront, go back through a recent video and you'll see the link to it in the description for that video. I'm always adding things to that storefront. Wineberry. Now, I've heard of wineberries. Are they the ones that are also called Japanese wineberries, Liz? In fact, I'm going to write that down right now. Wineberry. What do you think I'm going to be adding to my wish list once I've finished this? Oh, yes. Wineberry. Excellent. So, right. I am going to very quickly, guys, look back through some of your comments or some of the suggestions which you've been giving. So who else have we got? What have we got? What have you been saying? Wild garlic, Jen. Yes, I've got some wild garlic in a couple of pots. I think it's one of those things that can spread. If it likes the conditions, it will spread. So again, I'll have to closely manage that, perhaps be clever about where exactly I plant it. But yeah, certainly wild garlic, it is something that we do use. We do harvest it and use. I'll give you a little tip about wild garlic. It makes an amazing pesto. Oh, and another thing about making your own pesto, pine nuts cost a fortune. Instead of using pine nuts, buy a bag of sunflower hearts. So they've had the shells taken off them, and what you're left with is like a little nut, which is pretty much like a pine nut inside the sunflower seed. Makes fantastic pesto with wild garlic. Blackberries, cucumbers is a good idea. Good idea, because they would climb and trail up through things, wouldn't they? Biblical. Jane's Allotment Adventures. Sink a tub into the ground. Might aid the spreading from going crazy. Yeah, I've heard the pesto is lovely. Not heard about the sunflower heart stuff. Sweet and sour cherry are great for your land. You know, I have actually heard that, but I don't know why. So I'm going to look into that. So thank you very, very much for sowing that little seed about these sweet and sour cherries. Thank you very much. I shall look into that. Because as I said, I might possibly add one, maybe two more fruit trees to my canopy layer. But that's where it's looking and going at the moment, a food forest. Because in my mind's eye, when I look out through my kitchen door, I don't want to be able to see all the way to the bottom of the yard, to the garage and where the chickens are. I'd like some kind of like half screened filter made of plants, trees, bushes, that kind of thing. Obviously, I don't want a solid green wall. That might make me feel a little bit claustrophobic. But if you just get little glimpses at the bottom end of the yard where the chickens are, in your mind's eye, it makes you think it's slightly bigger, because natural curiosity makes you think, oh, what's that over there? I'll have to follow this path round and go and explore. So that's the kind of thing I'm aiming for. Right, I can see you amazing people have given me lots to think about here. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you very, very, very much for watching, right? Just another reminder, go and check each other out, guys. Go and start following back to each other. Get talking to each other. Leave comments. Watch each other's videos. You know, get some interaction going. It's a community, right? And I know you're all really good at that. It's just me getting on my soapbox for a moment, just as a gentle reminder. So thank you very, very, very much for watching this tonight. I'm now going to get my notepad and pen, and I'll re-watch it myself, and I'll be writing down, looking at the live chat, all of your brilliant suggestions and ideas for things that I could add into a food forest. Just thank you, all of you. Thank you very, very much. Right, take care of yourselves, guys. Enjoy your garden, and I'll see you later. Now we have that awkward moment where I can never remember. How do you turn this off? Hang on. Comment. End stream. Right, I'm pressing the button. Oh, hang on. Oh, yes, I am sure. Yeah, see you. Ta-da.